Hey everyone, welcome back to my next Tarkov video. We're going to be doing hideout profits today and going through what to make in your hideout to maximize the amount of money you get out of it. I'm going to go through all the modules. I'm going to show you what items make you the most money, as well as what items make you the most money kind of based on levels, so that if you can't make the most profitable item, you can make the most profitable item that is available to you, if that doesn't sound too complicated. I'll also touch on the items that you should make when you log off. These are generally the biggest ticket items, even though they take a long time to make, but they'll net you the most profit while you're logged off. You'll be able to start these, turn off your generator, shut off the game, and the next time you come on, you'll have big money waiting for you just as you start. If you're new here, I have a few things I want to lay out first. I go through everything as a cost per hour, not necessarily a direct value. That's because that's the best way to get things apples to apples on what to make, since some things take 35 minutes to take and other things take 4 hours to make. One big rule is don't stack crafted materials except in some rare cases. So for example, don't go make red gunpowder and then use that to make AP-20 shells or AP-63 or anything else, because you're just wasting time and money. It's better to just sell that gunpowder, and if you want to make those, buy the gunpowder to make them. The only notable exception to this is like sugar for the moonshine and purified water for the aquamarines. And if you have items that aren't found in raid that can go into crafts, generally it makes more sense to make whatever they do. You'll make more money selling those than you will just selling the non-found in raid item to a trader. Also, I have all of this wrapped up in a spreadsheet that's open for everyone to use. The link's in the description and in the comments. And I update it as I update these videos, so the information's relatively new. So to start things off, we'll dive into the med station here. Per the usual, pile of meds are your number one moneymaker. They're netting about 25 to 26K an hour right now. But in order to do that, you have to get your augmentin for less than the 17K, which you can usually do. Sometimes it's a little higher than that. You just got to watch. So like right now, there's a bunch available. So I'll snag it up while we're going through this. So you sell these for a minimum of 12,500, the actual pile of meds themselves. But sometimes you can get them high as 14 or 15K. So right now you're seeing them sub 12.5, but you could probably list for 13 and sell within an hour or two. This is also available at the level 2 med station. Next up is Salewas. These guys are making you right around 11K an hour. So if all you have is a level 1 med station, this is where you're going to make money at. Basically, you build these and then you sell them for at least 12.5, which right now you can see they're selling for much more than that, so they can actually make you a little bit more money. So these are also a fantastic way to generate a little extra cash. And then lastly, if you have a level 3 med station, you can make propitols. Now I make these overnight and I only use used golden stars. So like I run golden stars in my Kappa container, and when I use one up, I don't use it all the way to 0. It has 1 or 2 uses left, and then I'll use that to make propitols. And right now, propitols are selling for anywhere from 15 to 17K, so it's actually pretty good money. It'll net you a little over 50K for the craft with a used golden star. And I say that because I don't take into account in the calculation of the cost that golden star. That's sunk into my in-raid cost. Over at the nutrition unit, it's a little complicated here, but right now the best thing to make is aquamarine. You can do this with crafted purified water or bought purified water. If you're getting water filters at about 90K and you're selling your aquamarine for about 14.5K, you can net about 33K an hour here. With the purchased water, you only make about 4.5K. So I always keep this running just because. It makes a little bit of money, but you don't necessarily have to if you don't want to. If all you have is a level 2 nutrition unit, then make the Wilson cigarettes. They don't make you very much profit, but they do make you a little bit. So you're at least getting something out of your nutrition unit while the power's running. And then at level 1, nothing really makes money here. So you just leave it alone until you get it to level 2. Also, the new energy drinks aren't profitable, but if you're using lots of BS ammo, the hot rod barter with proper can pay out pretty good. You're getting your rounds quite a bit cheaper that way by making hot rods and bartering them than you are just buying up BS ammo, but you can also just buy the hot rods too, either way. And then lastly, sugar. Make this only for your booze generator. Do not make it to sell it. The flea market fee eats up any profit. In fact, you actually lose money if you make if you buy chocolate and then make sugar and sell it. If you find chocolate found in raid, sell the chocolate if you don't want to make sugar, because the flea market fee isn't nearly as high on the chocolate as it is on the sugar. Over at the water collector and the booze generator, purified water right now is making you about 5.5K an hour. It's better to turn this into aquamarine or moonshine right now to maximize the profits from it rather than just straight sell it. But if you don't have those available, then feel free to sell it. You're making money either way. Moonshine from crafted water makes you about 10K an hour, but moonshine from bought water loses you money. Because of the flea market fee. But in my opinion, if you're running lots of scav boxes with moonshine, it's worth it. Just keep this thing cranking out so you can constantly keep your scav box rolling to get those kappa items and sometimes even things like Ledexes. One of my viewers showed me a screenshot of how he got a Ledex today out of a moonshine run, which is pretty good. Over at the Porta-John, right now, our number one money maker as far as profit is Ox Bleach. But... and a big but here, you have to get your components at the right price. These things swing up and down wildly, and sometimes you can get one component way cheaper and overpay for a little bit and be okay. But just check out the spreadsheet, make sure your costs are in line, and then you can make pretty good money with Ox Bleach. Plus, you can use this for a couple of pretty good barters for armor and helmets and backpacks and stuff like that. I stick with the Scav backpack just because I get tons of components with this. Right now, I'm usually buying both of my components for less than 9K each, and I just stock up on them and keep a lucky scav junk box full of these fabrics, and I'm just cranking out backpacks. And then when I get 8 or 9 of them, I'll list them for a little over 16,000, sometimes even 17,000, and make pretty good money. Now for average, you're going to sell these about 15.5. You'll sell those pretty quickly there, and your prices are going to be about 10K each. So that's how I have it in the spreadsheet, but it just shows you can make a little bit more here. Toilet paper still making money. If you get your paper cheap enough, and this is great if you don't have a lot of room in your inventory, and it's available at level 1. So one of those things you can do and not even need power and make money. Mag boxes are losing you money unless you're using the fuel in your generator and then turn that into mag boxes. But only make this at night if you're going to. The money per hour is not that great, but the big hit is worth it to make it overnight. And the same thing for Lucky Scav Junk Box. It nets you about 52K in profit. And if you save up mag boxes, you can make a little bit more money just because the flea market fee on the mag cases is higher than it is on the Scav Junk Box. But again, that's a night make only. Over at my favorite module, the Workbench, VOG 25s and Hawk or Red Gunpowder are your number one profit makers right now, and it's huge. You're making a little over 32K an hour, and you can both get, you can push 35, 36, maybe even 40K an hour if you get the components at the right price. The VOGs are available at level 1, and the Hawk Gunpowder is available at Workbench level 2. So these are pretty much good for everybody. The only downside to the VOGs is you need about 175,000 to do the craft, but it'll net you over 210,000 for anywhere from 25 to 30 to 40,000 in profits. So with the red Hawk Gunpowder, getting matches and blue gunpowder just even 2K cheaper than what normal they are, it nets you almost an additional 6K an hour in profits. When I see matches or blue gunpowder cheap, I buy up as much of it as I can for future crafting. The red gunpowder craft is one of the most powerful crafts for money in the Workbench because its craft time is so short. Even small savings of components pay out huge with profit. You just got to make sure you keep churning these out after every raid because it's only about a 30-minute cycle on these things. Eagle green gunpowder is also one of my favorite crafts. It nets you about 23K an hour right now, and it's one of the easiest crafts to do. That's why it's one of my favorites. Once you have Peacekeeper level 2 and Spot Tour part 2 done, you can buy these M67 grenades. He sells 10 of them per reset for like $87, I think. $87. And then Proper at level 2 sells you the smoke grenades. And then you can just buy these components consistently from the vendors with very little effort and then crank out gunpowder all day long. And this requires a level 2 Workbench. For the 15 to 20K an hour group here, we're looking at circuit boards, SP6, and the 9x18 PBM ammo. And then for your 10 to 15K an hour, you've got M61 capacitors, your AP20 shotgun shells, 7.62 BP ammo, the 9mm RIP, the 9mm AP63, and then wires. For a night make, which I haven't talked about this before, but I realized I was kind of jumping over it. At night, if you want to make something, SP6 is your single largest profit of items you can make here. It's a longer make, but if you start this and then, like, let's say turn your generator off, it'll be ready in the morning, and it's going to net you the single most amount of money for a craft that you can in the Workbench right now. over at the very expensive Intel Center, once you have this thing upgraded, VPXs are still your top component to make. These are netting you about 60K total. I don't look at these things in the value per hour because the craft times are so long, and you generally don't get to maximize your time use out of this. It's usually just one-offs. So VPXs make you the most. Intel's making you about 43K, but are fantastic for the scav boxes as well. They give you really good keys and some pretty good items out of that. And then graphics cards are only netting you about 26K, but you get a little bit more tilly out of those if you still need cards for your Bitcoin farm, because you can make these, fill up your Bitcoin farm, and then as you get some non-found in raid, swap them out, and then sell these on the flea market. And it's kind of like a savings account. It makes you a little bit of interest. Well, that pretty much wraps up the video. If you got something out of this, please hit like. It helps push this video out to others and shares the knowledge with the rest of the player base. It also lets me know what kind of content you guys really like, so I can keep pushing in that direction. Hit subscribe for future content so you're some of the first to see this stuff when it hits. And don't hesitate to comment with any questions. I get a lot of good feedback from you guys on here towards more stuff you want to learn about or changes I can make to the video that make it more valuable to you. Come say hi on Twitch. I stream most evenings, and I love answering questions there for you guys live. And then lastly, don't hesitate to go check out that Google Sheets doc where I have my spreadsheet put in there for everybody. That way you can make changes on how you want to see it, or any numbers that you think are a little bit different than what I'm putting up in the video. And lastly, thank you again for watching the video. We'll see you in Tarkov.